All right, so we're going to talk about Earth. We're going to talk about Earth on Earth. I've been waiting to make this video. Well, actually, I've been putting off making this video for a couple weeks because life. So, in a way, this is kind of the most, I don't know, or maybe the least necessary of the videos that I've done because Earth on Earth is Earth. But let's do what we've done with all of them, and that's first talk about the element and its correspondences and the way they can be brought down to Earth, and also the tool. In this case, we have two. We have coins, pentacles, and I guess we could talk about discs as well. Just checking myself, making sure I'm looking decent. I really wish I'd buzzed my head, but whatever. Like vanity, Leos. Earth on Earth. Earth, obviously, if we think about the function of Earth, it is home. And in many ways, that is one reason why many of the associations for Earth are very homey, lifey, daily. It's where we live. It's where we plant our feet. So, in that regard, it is a thing that we take for granted in a lot of ways, right? And I think, again, just sort of all we need to do is look at the news, look at the world, and we can see we do take the planet, we do take the Earth for granted. Not just the planet, but the ground, you know, the Earth, the dirt we take advantage of, and we aren't particularly kind to. And I'm using we editorially, right? Like individual folks, yes. But the other thing, too, I guess, in this conversation, if we're going to go a little political for a second, is kind of the myth to me of like individual contributors, by which I mean, yes, as individuals we do contribute to pollution, but it's actually systemic industrial pollution that is really the thing that we need to control, and that if we could do that, we could lessen the burden on individuals. Anyway, that's the whole thing. The pointer, though, is the pointer. The pointer. Hey, the pointer. It's a me, the pointer. That's offensive. Don't do that. What was I saying? I don't know. I don't know anymore, folks. Earth, the planet, ground. It is home, and so in that regard, there's that. It's also dirt. So anything that is fertile, I guess, the ground, everything grows from it. We as a species would not be here without Earth. In the fire video, I talked about how, things, fire needs air and water and Earth. We as humans need all the elements, but particularly Earth and air. So we are very dependent on those. But I guess not particularly Earth and air, because without water we would die. So take that, me. The other thing about Earth is that it's dirty. And what is dirty? What do we mean by dirty? The word dirty is the thing that gets applied to so many things. Like, dirty literally isn't a bad thing. Dirt is natural. It's there. It is a thing from which life grows. But dirty also gets associated with some value judgments about, like, dirty movies, a term I actually really can't stand, and I don't really watch porn that much, but, like, a dirty movie, or, like, so they're dirty, that's dirty. We think of it as such a negative thing, but of course we need that dirt. We need to get our hands in the dirt. That's why I call Tarot on Earth, Tarot on Earth. Even the scent of the earth, the smell, like, that's a very healing, beautiful smell. It's why I love that patchouli sort of smell, that, like, earthy, dirty, in a literal sense thing. But it can suggest things that are dirty or need to be cleaned. And so, if you are in a situation where you have a lot of pentacles or coins in a spread, and you're like, what do I need to do to get through this depression or something? Like, maybe it's cleanse. It could be an emotional cleanse, a mental cleanse, a purge of the house, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, a cleanse of some kind, just sort of sweep away the dirt. If you have a very dirty reading, it could be that. The other thing I think about with Earth a lot is that it's grounded, and we need that. If I see a spread that has no Earth in it, unless contextually that's a good thing, I'm usually like, where are you being grounded? Where are we grounding? How do we have our feet on the ground here? How are we going to keep from floating away? Sometimes that's necessary. When we fall in love or we're being creative, we need to float away a little bit. We need to sort of allow ourselves to be a conduit for imagination or dreams or romance or creativity. And so, yeah, floating away is good in those cases. But a lot of times in life we do need to ground ourselves. And even our creativity often will need to be grounded because it can get the better of us, or we can not know what to do with it, or be able to sustain it. And Earth, grounding something can help sustain it. Keep it from floating away like a balloon. So that's an element of earth that I think is really useful to think about in readings. Is where do I need to be grounded? Where do I need to have my feet on the ground to be rooted or planted? And so in that sense, you also get roots. And so another connotation of family life, right? But our ancestors, our roots, our heritage, both those things that we're proud of and those things we wish we could go back and change. You know, if you're looking for a suit and you want to explore like ancestor healing, for example, the suit of earth would be a good one to look for signs of, because again, that's our roots. So there's that element. Converse to being grounded, sometimes we can get stuck in the mud. And so another indication of earth can be those times where we're really stuck in the mud, where we're kind of in a rut, or we're too grounded, we need to float away a little bit, or we're just, you know, like that kind of person who's like killing everyone's dreams, you know what I mean? Like sometimes we just get into those moods. I for sure get into those moods, usually with myself, you know. So there is such a thing as being too grounded. Again, all of the elements we really want to find in balance with each other, you know. So we want to be grounded enough, we want to be thoughtful enough or communicate enough, we want to be emotional enough, we want to be passionate enough, right? We want all those things in balance as much as we can. But again, most of the time we want readings because we're out of balance, you know, and a reading with the elements can be a nice diagnostic tool to say, oh, there's too much of this and not enough of that. Too much earth, not enough fire. Too much water, not enough earth, for example. You know, so the balance of the elements is a really useful diagnostic tool for me as a reader, especially when someone is in look. Are you in look of this? Are you in look? When someone is in search of a general reading or wants a general reading, the balance of elements will teach me a lot about the theme. So whatever suit is dominant let's slow down and not get excited, Ben. The dominant suit may tell you either what the theme is, or where attention may be required, or where there's too much of something. And a missing suit may tell you what is missing or what there's not enough of. I have found in times where the missing suit will tell me that's not an area you need to focus on right now. That's all contextual, right? But again, the balance of elements is huge. You know, I'm just thinking about like magic or you know what I mean? Like if you have a very earthy reading and you're thinking about like what kind of magic do I want to do, then I think in that case it would maybe be like a nature magic or stones or getting your feet in the dirt, getting your hands in the dirt, in the sand, you know, doing anything that connects you again to the earth seems to want to be something that happens with an earthy reading, or a preponderance of earth in a spread. And again, like what these videos are meant to do is inspire you to take this further in your own life and to explore your own correspondences and what they mean in real life. So if you have a very earthy reading and you're feeling a little down in the dumps, it might be that you're being dragged down. I find that with the world card too. You know, sometimes the world can be a great thing, but I always sort of see the world as meaning everything. And so it can be a burden. So a lot of earth in a reading can be a burden. Something's pushing you down or pulling you down. Your gravitational pull is low. You know, your mood is low. So sometimes you really need an earthy sort of grounded situation, and sometimes, again, it could just suggest depression. You know, a lot of earth in a reading might suggest that. It also conversely could suggest the way to heal it. So, what else about earth is interesting? I mean, in a way, it makes up all the other elements because the earth is made up of it and we are made up of it. You know, if you grew up like I did, Catholic, you know, from dust you were born, from dust you shall return. You know, the earth really is molecules of us. We are the earth. We are the world. So, in that regard, you know, there's a universality to the earth. It is a great equalizer, as they say, of death. And I think in that regard, there's an earth equality to death. I think there's a death equality to earth. Because it's, you know, ultimately where we should go. And I think an interesting thing about modern life, too, is we do everything we can to prevent that from happening, at least in the United States. You know, our funeral ways in the United States are like embalming, chemicals, airtight, watertight caskets, you know, all of these things that actually prevent us from becoming part of the earth again. And to me, that's really sad. Like, the thing that we should want to do is come back to the earth. We've gotten so far from the concept of death as a return, in the United States anyway, that we prevent the healing that our bodies need, and the way that our bodies regenerate the planet too. We become fertilizer, and you see that in Earth. And so if you're doing a reading about mortality or death and there's a lot of Earth, then it gives you the sense of regeneration, it gives you the sense of burial, it gives you the sense of finality, but also cycles and natural, I guess I'm going to use the word cycles again. Cycles, you know what I mean? But it's there. It's that. That's the Earth. And then you could think more broadly. It's anything that's round or orb-like. It's anything that spins. In terms of speed, I would say it's a very slow turn or very slow suit because the Earth turns fairly slowly. I think that's everything I have to say about the element in that regard. Let's talk about the suit or the tool, the item. And so in that case, we actually have two. We have coins and we have pentacles, or discs. And so I think Waite was the first person to correspond or change the suit of coins to the suit of pentacles. I don't recall that being part of the Golden Dawn decks. I think Waite did that in order to correspond them with the sort of 4 tools of magic: a wand, which, again, was changed. It would have been a baton, a sword, a cup, and a pentacle. So that was a Golden Dawn change. Prior to that, it was coins. And in that regard, it had everything to do with commerce, business, money, exchange, and it represented the merchant class. And so as we've talked about each of the elements in the suits, we sort of talked about how swords are like the law, the military, law enforcement, or anyone who serves in that kind of role. Cups would be the clergy, wands or batons would be the serfs, the lower class, the workers, the farmers. The coins would be the merchant class, the business class, and the bankers. The controllers of the money, the movers of the money, you could say the makers of the money, but they were really the takers of the money in a lot of ways from the suit of wands, right? The batons, the serfs, the peasants. And so there's an interplay there, a class interplay, where really the suit of wands is the lowest and the others are really above it hierarchically. And so there's a tension between wands and all the other suits too, especially with the money makers and the money takers, which you get in the suit of coins. But in that regard, today, it can represent certainly capitalism and anything we do for work, but not necessarily career or vocation. I would find vocation in the suit of wands and the suit of cups because of the suit of cups association with clergy, vocation, and the suit of wands association with passion, with fire and magic as a wand. So there is in a work suit of wands, it's different from pentacles or coins because pentacles or coins are a little more banal, a little more daily, a little more worky. I think of wands as more vocational, sort of our life's work or the passion projects or the things we really want to spend our life doing. Pentacles or wands, or pentacles or coins are really the kinds of things we have to do. Responsibilities, so family too, childcare, all those things that we sort of implicitly sign up for by engaging in the world in certain ways, by getting a job, by needing a job, by having a family, having children, etc. These responsibilities then become mandatory because we've made commitments, for lack of a better term, but you get my point, right? So it becomes a suit of commitments too, because we have to commit to these things. If we elect to bring children onto the planet, one would hope we are committed to raising and caring for them, right? And so in that regard, it also becomes a suit of marriage, but the business side of marriage. The romance is cups, the business side is coins. So you fall in love in cups, you get married in coins. And that makes me think of the fairy tale situation, right? Like, cups is sort of the happily ever after fairy tale. Pentacles is everything that happens after that. And I always say fairy tales end at the beginning. Happily ever after the wedding, that's the beginning, and everything else is sort of what follows. Everything in the fairy tale is the preamble to life. Pentacles are the life. So there's that regard. Any kind of bartering or exchange you will find in coins. And that could include things obviously financially, business-wise, but also disease, communicable diseases. So if you're thinking about health, why am I sick? If you have a very earthy, coiny reading, it could be that you have a communicable disease of some kind. You're contagious, or you encountered someone who's contagious. I don't do readings like that, but a lot of exchanges of energy, exchanges of things you will find there. To think about Pentacles is interesting because it wasn't initially the point of the suit, and the Golden Dawn really did make it into discs, so they didn't even quite know what to do with them. They just knew that they didn't like that they were coins. So Waite came along and made them Pentacles, and so they have this magical association. But to me, the Pentacle really is just a representation of all of the elements united, and that goes back into sort of Earth being made up of all the other elements, and all the other elements being made up of Earth. And so again, there's kind of a universality to that quality. The Pentacle sort of represents the 4 elements plus spirit sort of encircled and united. And so in that regard, it's kind of the emblem of tarot, which I think is why a lot of, tarot readers really are drawn to the pentacle or pentagram. But that has a long magical history too. And you could then associate it with math, with sort of that Pythagorean magical math in that regard. I don't tend to read that way, but you can. The pentacle has a long mathematical, religio-magical, spiritual-magical association, journey with it. So that is a thing that you could associate with it too. I mean, to me, sort of the tarot as a whole is a magical tool in the sense that it works. So I don't need one suit to kind of encapsulate it that way, but you have that if you want it to. But I really do tend to view them as coins, as currency. And that also makes me think of current events, currency, current. So in that regard, the Pentacles would be maybe the most immediate energy at play because they're current currency. And again, that little thing, right? Those are things you get to play with as a reader to help you expand and explore, So in a reading, you might not think of currency or current events, but then you might remember 3 weeks from now, oh, right, remember that video and that weirdo said this and current event, whatever. But like, you don't just have to be literal or metaphorical. You get to be both, And so, if you have a lot of earth and air in a reading, you could have your feet on the ground and your head in the clouds, right? Things like that can be really useful little metaphors, dances with language, dances with experience, right? It doesn't just need to be the thing that we think it is. It can go further. It can go beyond that. It can go deeper. And again, that's like everything I do in these videos is really just an invitation for you to do that, So occasionally I'll get a request like, can you do all the minors? Like I could, but in essence, I would be robbing you of the opportunity to do that yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and it's truer if it comes from you. It's more memorable if it comes from you because you did the work. You brought it out of yourself, and they come from your life experience. And that's really the whole point. For me as a teacher or a facilitator of learning is that, like, yes, I have interesting things that have worked really well for me, and I'm excited to share them with you. But more than that, what I want to do, hopefully, is inspire you to do that yourself, to kind of go on similar journeys into the suits, into the elements, into the majors, into the courts, into the minors. What is this thing in life? What is its function? What is its form? What does it do? What is its impact? What effect does it have on other things? And asking yourself these questions during a reading can be really exciting and open you up so much. And if you read for yourself in your journaling and free writing, it almost becomes kind of like automatic writing. You know what I mean? Where you're kind of becoming a conduit for something more divine, so just really cool opportunities for us as readers to explore this way. So I'm gonna leave it there for Earth on Earth. Hoping to make more videos this summer. I do want to do the courts. I don't know, part of it is weird because that's also like content that I teach in my workshops, which I make money on, and like, I don't know. But anyway, I'll figure out something. So again, I hope this series was fun and interesting. Thanks for your patience as I waited thanks for your patience as I got through the last two. And I think that's it. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're surviving the heat, the planet, the world, everything that's so awful right now that continues to be because humans are very something. Anyway, be good, take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye!